Good morning. I'm Jordan Lulich. This is the Lulich Corner, and today we get to bring in one of our local nonprofits and sit down and talk about what they do. So first off, today we have Meredith Egan, CEO of United Way. Thank you so much for coming in, taking your time to share about what you guys do. And before we dive in to talk about all the exciting things that United Way does, I'd love for you to just share a little bit about yourself as well as about United Way before we get started.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me, Jordan. So I've been with United Way since 2006. So I've kind of come up through the United Way system and United Ways across the country. So I've seen different communities, different United Ways, but I've been with this United Way here in Vero Beach for about 10 years now. So
Okay?
really happy to be here. Found a little slice of paradise and haven't left.
Don't tell anybody else about it.
Yeah, no, definitely don't tell anyone else about it.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming in. I'm sure a lot of people know about United Way of Indian River County, but some people do not. So how would you explain what does United Way do? What is United Way about?
It's a very hard question to answer. It's simple, but it's complex. So United Way, most people recognize the hand or the rainbow. A lot of times from the NFL commercials. Yep, there it is.
Right there,
It's
yep.
right there. That's one of the brands that is recognized worldwide. But what we do is we invest in programs in the community based on needs. So every United Way responds differently to the needs of that community. So there's United Ways. I like an example. There's a United Way that just gives out diapers in that community because that's the biggest need because it's remote and rural. So every United Way responds based on the needs and the data of that community. So we raise funds and we distribute it to organizations that are meeting the needs right here in our community.
I've been super impressed. I mean, I've known about United Way, and I feel like over the past few years, like we've started working together more, and I've been seeing, just how involved United Way is in the community, and I think there's just so many initiatives that you all do. I commend you on it. Like you've got a lot going on.
We do.
Yeah, just from a legal aspect to like catastrophes. I mean, there's a lot. So what are some of the current initiatives that you guys are working on?
Sure. So our mission is to mobilize the caring power of our community. So we do that in a multitude of ways, whether it's raising dollars, raising resources, people power, volunteers, awareness, advocacy, you name it. So that, it's important to remember when you say we have a lot going on. Some of it is direct service and some of it is just getting the word out and mobilizing people to action and respond. And then, of course, raising money because money helps solve a lot of the problems.
Absolutely.
Some of the things, as you mentioned this year, disaster has been one of the biggest things that we obviously still are dealing with the ripple effects of. Unfortunately, we had a lot of our community that was under-resourced, so they were impacted. So it wasn't necessarily direct impacts necessarily to lost their roof, and a lot of people did, and a lot of people had flooding, but it's also the economic impact. So losing a couple days work, not having childcare, schools being closed, the ripple effects of people kind of living paycheck to paycheck. We're still seeing the effects of, they lost hours of work, missed shifts at work, got sick, especially now with a lot of the mold starting to show up. So we're seeing still, like I said, the ongoing effects of that disaster was one of the biggest things that we've had in our community that United Way has responded to this year. We raised about $2 million just in disaster funds.
Wow. Now, is that all direct to resident, or is that being funded through other organizations who's helping residents directly?
So both. So we gave out specific grants to some of our trusted partners like Habitat for Humanity, Salvation Army, Treasure Coast Homeless, United Against Poverty, to do direct support to people. And then we also were doing direct support through United Way in other ways, mattresses and food vouchers, things like that. So
That's awesome.
We helped about 1,700 people in that first week.
Wow.
We stood up what was called a multi-agency resource center. So we brought all the agencies into one place. So that people didn't need to go continually tell their story and fill out new applications and get eligible. So we created one centralized location for disaster response. And saw, like I said, about 1,700 people right in that first week after the storm.
That's awesome. And then another program I just heard you speak at a luncheon recently. So if you could talk a little bit about the legal support that you're providing to the community
Sure.
that you're a part of. I was super enthusiastic to hear that. So yeah, I'd love for you to share with the audience that's listening in about that program.
Sure. So a couple years ago, actually, as a result of the COVID pandemic, we saw a lot of eviction mediation needs.
Mm.
In Indian River County, we were sort of a legal desert, we called it. We didn't have a true legal aid dedicated to our community. So we created this eviction mediation program with local attorneys and the Bar Association that volunteered their time. And from that, we started to realize that there was much more legal aid needs that were out there in the community. So we created what's called the Access to Justice Initiative. It is a true initiative that is a direct service of United Way. There wasn't really an agency in town to house it, so we did it ourselves. Partnered with the clerk of the court, so it is embedded in the clerk of the court. Great partnership with Ryan Butler, as well as Indian River County, to help start the program. And so there's staff that are available for pro se litigants to get help with family law, civil law, so evictions, adoptions, divorces,
Small court
small
claims.
claims,
Yeah.
exactly. Custody, things like that. A lot of which people can do pro se, if they can't afford an attorney, and they can also get an attorney consultation for $1 a minute. So we have about 13 attorneys right now that are volunteering. So they do consultation. So it's not representation, but it's just as an opportunity to talk through. Do you think I can do this? Does this make sense? Do I have a case? Yeah, and the attorney will give them.
Provide some guidance, and there's opportunities even to have, depending upon the person's circumstance, even to have that dollar per minute waived, right?
Yes.
In some situations.
Yes.
Yeah, very awesome program.
It is. It's been we've been around for about 19 months ago. We started it up, and we've served over 2,600 clients. So that really just
Wow.
shows the amount of need that was out there.
Wow.
And just having that listening ear and helpful support from the clerk of the court and the attorneys to walk people through, like, it's a scary thing to go through a divorce or custody
It
or
is.
those, an eviction.
Yeah.
To just have somebody say, these are the forms, this is what you need to fill out, this is how you do it. And I will go back to that lunch, and you asked a very important question. Had we gone after funding from the State Bar Association?
Florida Bar. Yeah.
We just found out this week that we did get a grant from
Okay.
them, so we're super
That's awesome.
excited.
Congratulations.
So that really, thank you. It put us kind of on the map with
Yeah.
the state, and helped us feel very validated that
Very
this
awesome.
wasn't, a crazy harebrained idea. Like, this is a real deal legally that
Getting
we've
some
created.
traction. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just found that news out. So
Well,
we're
that's
really excited
super
to share
awesome.
that.
Yeah. Congratulations. What is the Alice population? Just changing gears and
Sure.
Starting to talk about something else.
So the Alice population is our asset limited, income constrained employed. So emphasis on the employed.
Okay.
So it's giving a name and giving some dignity to what was previously known as kind of the working poor. So it is people who are not on welfare, not on public assistance, that are working hard, oftentimes multiple jobs,
Mm-hmm.
to just shoestring together a survival budget, that they can make ends meet in this community. The Alice population, again, it's a name given to those people. It came out of Rutgers University in partnership with United Way. I came from a United Way in New
Very cool.
Jersey. So we partnered with Rutgers to do a deep dive into census information, local affordability based on real numbers, not numbers in Miami, not numbers in Orlando, real numbers in every community in the state, to find out what the real true cost of living is and what it takes to make ends meet.
So those people who are earning an income under the cost of living, then is it kind of like a supplemental?
Yes.
To help people get to that cost of living or a little bit above it.
Yeah, and to give a real true picture of what it really costs. Knowing that rent, we have an affordable housing crisis. We know that it costs a
Expensive. Rents
lot
have
to
gone
live
up.
here.
Groceries have gone up. Eggs have gone up.
Everything.
Yeah.
So that
What's
Alice
the cost of living? Do you
So-
offhand for?
So for a family of 4, it's about $80,000 to really be able to afford a 2-bedroom place to live that's not, rodent infested,
Right.
like a legitimate place for a family to live. It costs about $80,000. Basic costs for health insurance, car, things like that, to be able to get to work. Nothing fancy, no fringe benefits, things like that. About $80,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
So
feel like that's gone up a lot over the last 5 years.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that helps us put into perspective the types of people that we're trying to help. Again, it's not people on public assistance. It's not people on welfare. It's people who are working really hard. Like I said, sometimes 2 jobs, just to get by.
Wow. That's an awesome. So if somebody wanted to learn about the Alice program, do they just reach out to United Way, or
Yes.
is that like a confidential process for them?
So we like to say that we're always serving the Alice population. That's our target in
Okay.
United Way, because there are organizations and other programs that are supporting that lower income threshold. But the Alice population in our community is about 44%.
Wow.
Right. So that, we have such a generous community. We have, some of the wealthiest people and zip codes in our community is wonderful, but that we call it the Gini coefficient, the difference between the poorest of the poor and the richest of the rich is a huge divide in our
Huge
community.
disparity. Yeah.
hmm
So for those businesses that are a partner or that are a funded partner, how do you partner with businesses, and how does that funded partner program work?
So, our funded partners are organizations in town that are thoroughly vetted, that are providing outcomes based on the education, financial stability, and health indicators that we've set forward. So, they go through a pretty rigorous standard, their financials, their outcomes, their governance for a nonprofit to be able to be considered a United Way funded partner. And every year they submit an application, or every 2 years they submit an application and ongoing reports based on demographics and who they're serving and what needs they're meeting in the community. And then on the flip side, our businesses and workplace partners, our community partners, are partnerships that either they run a traditional workplace campaign, raise money through workplace deductions, they sponsor things, they do fun competitive things in their office to raise money.
Yeah.
So all sorts of things. So those are our community partners and some of our funded partners.
So your funded partners are the United Against Poverty and the Habitat for Humanity,
Exactly.
those different
Lots
organizations.
of lots of familiar names in town, Boys and Girls Club, Crossover Mission, you
Yeah.
name it. So we have over 30 funded partners in our community, implementing about 48 different programs.
Wow.
So anywhere from seniors to babies and anything in between.
And you really highlighted that at the event that you all did last year. It was over on Venue Off 66, I believe, right? You
Oh,
really
the
highlighted some of the different programs. Is that an annual event that you do?
the Community Leaders Breakfast.
Yeah, the
That's
Community Leaders
sort of
Breakfast.
the launch of our campaign year, usually in
Yeah,
October,
in
to
October.
kick us off.
Is there anything else that you wanted to share, or any other programs that you feel like is important for the community to be aware of, that maybe that there's just not as much awareness surrounded by a program that you do?
Right now, we're wrapping up our VITA program, which is a tax preparation program. So it's not that exciting, but it's something
Yeah.
really important. And it helps people who can't afford to get their taxes done, or to pay a payday lender to get an advance. That predatory lending,
Hmm.
that financial stability for that Alice population is critical. So right now, we're wrapping up our VITA program. Tax season is coming to a close because we had a disaster impacted community. Our
May
tax
1st.
deadline is
Yep.
extended. So we've served over 2,000 people doing their taxes, getting their
Wow.
refunds. They don't have to pay. It's all done by volunteers. We love volunteers. So if anybody's interested in getting involved in volunteering in any possible way, we have volunteer opportunities for anyone in the community. And really just, if you're looking for a service, there's a program out there to help you with what you need, and we can help connect you. And if the program doesn't exist, we'll probably make it
Start
up
it.
and start it, just like we did with Access to Justice.
Like you said before, you're really adapting to what the needs are,
Mhm.
and those needs change over time.
Yes, we're
Yeah.
undergoing a needs assessment this summer. So we'll have some updated data around the reoccurring needs and emerging needs in the community. So we'll be launching the information from that in the fall.
Very awesome. Well, Meredith, thank you so much for joining. If someone who was listening wants to reach out to you, how can they reach you? How can they find United Way, and how can they learn more about the organization?
Sure. UnitedWayIRC.org is our website. We're on all the socials, have lots of activity on social media, Facebook, Instagram. Stop by our office downtown Vero Beach, 1836 14th Avenue, across from Taco Dive, everybody's favorite.
Yes.
And or just give us a call, 772-567-8900.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm Jordan Lulich. This is the Lulich Corner, and we'll see you next time.